Have you ever found yourself waking up in the middle of the night, not sure exactly why, but with a strange, unsettling feeling in the air? At 3:30 a.m., the stillness of the world seems to conspire to reveal something bigger than we realize. Padre Pio knew this better than anyone. And he warned, if you wake up at this moment, there is something essential you must do. It might seem like just a random occurrence, but the truth is, this hour holds a unique spiritual power, one that can change the course of your life. And it all begins with three powerful words, words that can forever change your journey of faith. Are you ready to discover what to do when the clock strikes 3:30 a.m.? Imagine the stillness of the early morning, where the world feels in total silence, interrupted only by the gentle whisper of the wind. It is precisely at 3:30 a.m. that something profound happens. The environment becomes wrapped in a mysterious atmosphere, as if nature itself is awaiting a sacred moment. There is no rush, no hurry, just the sense that something very special is about to happen. It is in this instant that the barriers between the earthly world and the spiritual realm begin to dissolve. As we enter this spiritual journey, we are invited to look at the early morning hours with new eyes. 3:30 a.m. is not just any hour. It is a portal to reflection and communion with the divine. During this time, everything feels sharper, more intense. It is a moment of quietude, where the soul can connect with a greater force, opening itself to prayer and biblical study, seeking answers that we don't always hear in the noise of the day. Imagine, for a moment, that this hour is the only space life offers you to reconnect with faith in its purest form. Now, I invite you to join this spiritual journey. Allow yourself to be enveloped by this quiet space, where the divine presence becomes tangible and where your prayer can reach levels of deep transformation. 3:30 a.m. is not just an hour. It is a unique opportunity to strengthen your faith, renew your vows of worship to Jesus Christ, and feel the peace that only prayer can provide. It is no coincidence that so many experiences of faith intensify at this exact moment. Padre Pio, a man profoundly connected with the divine, often spoke of the importance of 3:30 a.m. as a time of great spiritual significance. For him, it was a moment when heaven drew near to earth, a time when the barrier between the physical and spiritual realms became so thin that a sincere prayer could be heard clearly. Through his life and teachings, he invited us to view this time not as just a point in the night, but as an intimate meeting with the divine. He believed that at this moment, the most receptive souls could touch God's heart in a unique way. When we look at Christianity, we see that moments like these hold special meaning. It's as if, by praying at this specific hour, we tune directly into the heavenly frequency. 3:30 a.m. offers an opportunity for those seeking a deeper connection with faith, more focused and less distracted. During this time, the Church resurges in every heart, the Bible becomes more vivid, and praise transforms from something we do into a true spiritual experience. This idea is more than just a theory. For those who allow themselves to wake at this hour and dedicate time to prayer, the sense of closeness to God is indescribable. The words of Jesus Christ become clearer, the gospel takes on new meaning, and it is in this moment that many find the strength to overcome life's challenges, seeking not only solace but divine guidance. And perhaps, you too may begin to experience this by allowing yourself to immerse in this sacred moment of transformation. Padre Pio always taught that, in the midst of our greatest challenges, there is power in simple, yet deeply spiritual words. When he said, "Jesus, I trust in you," he wasn't just reciting a phrase of faith. He was, in fact, surrendering all his trust to divine mercy, an act of total submission to God's will. These three words are more than a short prayer. They carry with them a transformative power that transcends time and space. They are words that, when spoken with a heart full of faith, can change the trajectory of our lives. By reciting, "Jesus, I trust in you," you are directly connecting with the promise that God is in control of all situations, and that, even in adversity, He will never abandon us. When 3:30 a.m. arrives, it is as if the entire universe is waiting to hear these words, an invocation of unwavering trust that can bring peace to the heart and clarity to the mind. As a young Christian seeking direction, these words become a beacon, guiding you through life's storms, reminding you that faith is the way, and trust in Jesus is the key. This little spiritual mantra is a powerful tool for prayer. During your morning prayers, or even in the quiet of the early hours, you can repeat these words and allow your soul to quiet itself before God. This simple yet profound practice opens doors to spiritual transformation because, by fully trusting in Jesus Christ, you open your heart for divine grace to act powerfully. This is not just a recommendation from Padre Pio. It is an invitation to live faith in a more tangible and transformative way. In a moment of total despair, when all human resources seemed exhausted, a man found himself at 3:30 a.m., struggling to find an answer to the difficulties that troubled him. He was lost, not knowing where else to turn for comfort, until, in his anguish, he remembered the teachings of Padre Pio. Desperate, he turned to prayer, with the words, "Jesus, I trust in you," coming from his lips, even though he didn't know exactly what would happen next. However, something changed in that moment. He felt an inexplicable peace wash over his being, a tranquility that could not be found anywhere else but in the heart of God. As he surrendered completely to the moment, something miraculous happened. He realized that, by praying at this sacred hour, he had opened a direct channel to the divine, and this not only brought comfort but also clarity. The words of Jesus, spoken with faith, became clear and direct answers to his deepest questions. This spiritual encounter with God, which could have been just a mechanical act of prayer, turned into a moment of profound revelation. Despair gave way to hope, anguish to trust, and he knew at that instant that he was no longer alone. God had heard his prayer. This testimony is a clear example of how the 3:30 a.m. moment, coupled with sincere prayer, can become a key to personal transformation. Through devotional prayer and total surrender to Jesus Christ, that man experienced a true inner revolution. If you are facing a moment of despair, remember that this sacred hour is more than an opportunity for prayer. It is an invitation for profound transformation, where faith and trust in God can change your life. At 3:30 a.m., when the world is still immersed in silence, there is a sense that spiritual forces are closer than ever. The presence of angels and saints becomes more tangible, as if they were watching every prayer, every murmur of faith. At this hour, the heavens seem to open to embrace those who seek to connect with the divine. But, as with every spiritual journey, this moment also carries challenges. Temptations and the influences of negative forces can intensify, trying to distract us from the path of light. Just as the Bible warns us about the constant struggle between light and darkness, this hour becomes a spiritual battleground. During this moment of prayer, it is crucial to maintain focus and trust in God, because, while we are more receptive, we also become vulnerable. Padre Pio taught us that fervent prayer, especially at this sacred hour, is a powerful protection against forces that seek to lead us away from our spiritual mission. The Gospel reminds us in several passages that our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers. Therefore, as we draw closer to God, darkness also tries to draw near, challenging us to remain firm in faith. However, there is nothing stronger than the light of Christ. When you dedicate yourself to prayer, especially at 3:30 a.m., you are strengthening your soul against temptations and attracting the presence of angels into your life. The daily practice of prayer and trust in Jesus Christ keeps us under divine protection, pushing away evil and bringing peace. The feeling you experience at this hour is not only one of calm but of inner strength that prepares the heart to face life's adversities with renewed courage and faith. The daily practice of prayer, especially at 3:30 a.m., is an invitation to a transformed life. This sacred hour is not reserved just for moments of crisis or despair, but an opportunity to make prayer a daily spiritual routine. When you commit to waking up at this time, you are creating a daily meeting space with God, where faith strengthens with each new prayer. Every morning, when you rise and engage in prayer, you align yourself with divine grace, preparing your spirit for what is to come. No matter what happens throughout the day, the strength you gain during this quiet morning time is a constant protection. The constant practice of prayer at 3:30 a.m. brings profound spiritual benefits. By adopting this habit, you begin to notice changes not only in your spiritual life but also in your daily actions. Being more connected with God's Word, through praise, worship, and Bible study, shapes your decisions and attitudes, making you more balanced and centered. Christianity teaches us that we must pray without ceasing, and it is precisely this continuous effort of daily prayer that builds a solid foundation for faith, where the love of Jesus Christ becomes tangible and alive in our actions. If you wish to experience true transformation, start adopting the habit of prayer at 3:30 a.m. This is not just an invitation to improve your spiritual life, but to create a routine that will bring peace, trust, and strength to face daily challenges. The daily practice of prayer may seem difficult at first, but over time, it will become an essential part of your life, a direct connection with God, a continuous path of praise and devotion. And as you persevere, you will see true change within, for it is in daily practice that faith becomes unshakable. Inspired by Padre Pio's profound teachings, the prayer he invites us to make is more than a simple plea. It is a sincere request for protection, peace, and divine guidance. He taught that in times of doubt and uncertainty, prayer should be made with an open heart, seeking not only divine intervention but also inner transformation. The prayer he suggested carried immense power, for by invoking the intercession of Padre Pio and the saints, we were joining a powerful spiritual network. A simple yet profound prayer that connects us directly with the divine. A prayer inspired by Padre Pio's teachings might be something like, "Lord, through the intercession of Padre Pio, I ask for your divine protection. May the light of your faith guide me, may your peace fill my heart, and through your intercession, may I be strengthened to walk the path of truth and justice." This prayer, spoken with an open heart and full trust in God, becomes a powerful force for transformation. It not only brings the protection needed to face adversity, but also strengthens our spiritual journey, drawing us ever closer to Christ. Invoking Padre Pio's intercession is not merely asking for something material, but rather seeking true inner peace. The prayer inspired by his teachings teaches us to trust in God's will, to seek peace in the midst of chaos, and to fight with faith. It is a devotional practice that transcends time and space, uniting us with a divine force that leads us. By praying in this way, you open your heart to God's grace, allowing His blessings to flow abundantly into your life. Now, imagine yourself in the deep silence of the early morning, where the sound of the world has disappeared, and you are completely at peace. At 3:30 a.m., the stillness is palpable, like a blanket enveloping your soul. Close your eyes for a moment and visualize the soft light surrounding you, a divine light, purifying and welcoming. Feel the presence of Jesus Christ, so close, so real, as if He were right there beside you, ready to hear your prayer. The silence of the early morning becomes a reflection of the inner silence, a space where communication with the divine is direct and unobstructed. During this moment of visualization, you feel a deep peace that goes beyond words. Your breathing calms, and you realize you are connected to something greater. Now imagine that each thought, each worry, dissolves in the silence and peace of this prayer. You are completely surrendered to God, with no distractions, no rush, only in complete adoration. The Bible tells us that where 2 or 3 are gathered in His name, He will be there. And in this moment, you are gathered with the presence of Christ, in spirit and in truth, experiencing something that transcends time and space. This visualization exercise is more than just a meditation practice. It is an invitation to feel the divine presence in a tangible and profound way. By doing this, you are spiritually connecting, strengthening your faith, and allowing transformation to take place in your heart. 3:30 a.m., then, becomes a space for pure spiritual connection, where the early morning silence becomes a direct link to the peace that Jesus Christ offers all those who trust in Him. This is the sacred moment to strengthen your soul and reaffirm your commitment to faith. At 3:30 a.m., you are not only waking from physical sleep, but from something even deeper, a spiritual awakening. This time is a direct invitation for you to disconnect from the material world and connect with your deepest essence. When you wake at this sacred hour, you are receiving a call to reflect on your life, your choices, and how your faith has shaped your journey. This moment of introspection is an opportunity to assess how closely you have walked with Jesus Christ and what you can do to strengthen your spiritual connection even more. This spiritual awakening goes beyond the simple act of praying. It is an opportunity to renew yourself from within. When the Bible speaks about the transformation of the mind, it invites us to experience profound changes in the way we think and act. By waking at 3:30 a.m. and dedicating that time to the Lord, you are doing more than a religious practice. You are allowing your soul to be shaped by divine grace, strengthening your faith and spirituality in a deep and lasting way. It is the perfect moment to reflect on the gospel and how Jesus' teachings can be applied more concretely in your daily life. This is the turning point. Spiritual awakening is not just about waking from physical sleep, but about the true inner transformation that occurs when we allow the light of Christ to illuminate our hearts. By responding to the call to pray at 3:30 a.m., you are taking the first step toward a life of renewed faith, more connected to the divine. And as you move forward on this path, you will realize that each moment of prayer brings a new opportunity to grow spiritually and, thus, live with more purpose and peace. Often, we avoid our vulnerability. We think that to be strong, we need to hide our weaknesses, our fears, and our anxieties. But in reality, it is these moments of vulnerability that can open the doors to deeper spiritual experiences. When the man in despair turns to God at 3:30 a.m., he is not just seeking comfort. He is surrendering completely, allowing divine grace to enter his life. This is the power of vulnerability. It is in total surrender, when we see ourselves as small before the vastness of God, that His mercy is revealed in the most profound way. The Bible teaches us that strength comes from weakness. In 2 Corinthians 12 verse 10, Paul reminds us that when we are weak, that is when we truly experience the power of God. By surrendering to our vulnerability, we are allowing God to work in our lives in a powerful and transformative way. During prayer at 3:30 a.m., you find yourself in a state of total vulnerability, where there are no more masks, no more defenses. It is when you allow God to fill every emptiness of your being that true healing occurs. This surrender is the key to a deeper connection and a spiritual transformation that can only be experienced by opening your heart completely. It is important to remember that vulnerability is not weakness, but an opening for God to mold and transform us. When we pray with a sincere and open heart, like the man in despair, we are allowing divine grace to work powerfully in our lives. At 3:30 a.m., we are called to strip away our insecurities and fully trust in the power of God. This is the key to a deeper spiritual connection and a life transformed by faith. When you experience a deep spiritual transformation, like those experienced at 3:30 a.m., it's natural to want to share that experience with others. Faith grows when shared, and the Christian community plays a vital role in that. By telling your spiritual stories, you not only strengthen your own faith, but also inspire and encourage others to embark on their own spiritual journey. The Bible reminds us that where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, I am there among them. Matthew 18 verse 20. This means that when we share our faith stories, we create a space where God can work even more powerfully. Through testimonies of faith, the strength of the community grows. By sharing your experiences of prayer, encounters with the divine, or even challenges you've overcome with the help of faith, you open doors for others. When you share in the comment section or with close friends, you are helping create a support circle where everyone can strengthen one another. Each story of transformation is a seed that can grow and blossom in another's life, creating a network of encouragement and spiritual growth. I encourage you not to keep the blessings you've received in your journey to yourself. Share your experiences. Tell others how the power of prayer at 3:30 a.m. can bring peace, protection, and transformation. The faith community is more than just a gathering of people. It is a space where the love and strength of Christ become more tangible. Join this support network, where all can witness the power of God in action and grow together in faith. Sharing is an act of love and faith that strengthens both the storyteller and the listener. Oftentimes, prayer seems like just a ritual, something we do out of obligation or habit. But the true power of daily prayer lies in persistence. It's easy to pray when things are going well, when everything is calm. But what about when the days are difficult? When worries and challenges seem to take over our minds? Daily prayer, especially at 3:30 a.m., is not just a search for immediate answers, but a demonstration of persistence in faith. Padre Pio, with all his spiritual wisdom, always insisted that continuous prayer has the power to move mountains, especially when it is done with an open heart and trusting in God's will. Persistence in prayer, especially at hours like 3:30 a.m., creates a solid foundation of faith that cannot be easily shaken. Each prayer, made with sincerity, strengthens your connection to the divine, and consistency brings profound results. Just as an athlete must train every day to reach their goals, our spiritual lives also require constant practice. When you dedicate yourself to pray every day, even when the world around you seems out of sync, you are building a personal and powerful relationship with God that can transform your life in unexpected ways. This is an invitation for you not to give up, even when the answers don't come in the time you expect. Persistence in prayer at 3:30 a.m. is an act of trust in God. It is He who guides every step of your life. By persisting, you not only strengthen your faith, but you also build a solid foundation that will sustain your journey, no matter what comes ahead. True change begins when you decide not to give up. Now that you know the power of 3:30 a.m. and the words that Padre Pio valued so much, it's time to act. Don't wait until the last moment of despair to seek the spiritual connection you deserve. Rise, pray with faith, and let transformation begin now. What are you waiting for to change your life? Have you ever felt this peace when waking up in the middle of the night? Share your experience in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to continue learning how spirituality can transform your journey.